Unlocking bold confidence may seem challenging, but there's a secret weapon many overlook, a powerful verse in the Bible, 2 Timothy 1:7. This verse has a profound effect on those who ponder its meaning. It's like a treasure hidden within the pages of this sacred scripture that many of us neglect to uncover. The verse is steeped in historical significance, where the words seem to echo with the wisdom of the ancients and resonate within our modern context. This verse is more than just an assembly of words. It is a powerful promise, a divine assurance that can trigger a tidal wave of change in our lives. For many, it is a beacon of hope, cutting through the fog of fear and uncertainty. It is a spiritual compass guiding us through the tumultuous sea of life. The book of Timothy, where the verse resides, has a unique place in the Bible. It is one of the pastoral epistles written by Apostle Paul to his young protege, Timothy. Paul's letter attempts to provide Timothy with the guidance he needs to overcome the challenges he faces as a young leader in the church. It is within this context that the verse 2 Timothy 1:7 has its roots. When we delve into the verse itself, it says, "For God has not given us a spirit of fear, but of power and of love and of a sound mind." This powerful declaration offers a unique perspective on fear and confidence. It talks about three gifts that God has given us: power, love, and a sound mind. These are not just random gifts, but they are key elements required to beat fear and to walk with confidence. Power gives us the strength to face our fears, to tackle them head on. Love, on the other hand, nurtures empathy and compassion in us. It helps us to understand and treat others with kindness, a crucial quality for those seeking to lead with confidence. Lastly, a sound mind represents wisdom and discernment, equipping us to make the right decisions in the face of fear. The verse provides a spiritual framework that can guide us towards fearlessness and audacity. It is a divine blueprint that helps us to construct a life of bold confidence. It reminds us that we are not alone in our struggles, that we have divine help on our side. It reassures us that fear is not a natural state of being, but something that can be overcome with the power, love, and sound mind that God has given us. Weaving these elements into our lives means building a strong foundation of courage and confidence upon which fear cannot prevail. It's crucial to remember that the verse's power doesn't lie solely in reading it, but in understanding and internalizing its message. It's about letting the verse shape our perception of fear and confidence, influencing our actions and guiding our journey towards bold confidence. So are you ready to dive into the depths of this verse and unleash its fear-crushing power? To fully grasp the power of 2 Timothy 1:7, we must journey back to its origins. We embark on this voyage through time to a place and era rife with both challenges and possibilities. The 1st century AD. Picture this setting, a world in transition. Its culture, philosophies, and religious outlook all undergoing an unprecedented shift. The air is buzzing with the seeds of a new belief system, Christianity, which was slowly but surely taking root in the fertile soil of faith and conviction. Our destination? The 1st century AD, a time of great change, a period that saw the birth of the early church. This was not an overnight transformation, but a gradual process that spread over decades. The early church wasn't just a building or a religious institution, it was a community of believers united by their faith in Jesus Christ. These individuals were the torchbearers of Christianity, sowing the seeds of the gospel in hearts and minds across the known world. But let's not get ahead of ourselves. Our focus is on two key figures, Timothy and Paul, two men who were not just central to the growth of the early church, but also played significant roles in shaping the course of Christian history. Their lives, their teachings, their interactions with each other and the world around them provide a rich tapestry of insights into the early days of Christianity. To truly appreciate their story, we need to understand the world in which they lived. The 1st century was a time of Roman dominance, with the empire stretching across the known world. Rome was a superpower, its influence felt in every corner of its vast territories. This was the backdrop against which Christianity began to spread, a time of both opportunity and great peril. Enter Timothy, a young man of mixed parentage, his mother a devout Jewess who had embraced the teachings of Jesus, and his father a Greek. Timothy was a native of Lystra, a city in the Roman province of Galatia, modern-day Turkey. Timothy was known for his faith and devotion, qualities that were rare in a society that was largely pagan. His reputation caught the attention of none other than the Apostle Paul. Paul, a former Pharisee turned Christian evangelist, was a towering figure in the early church. He was an influential teacher, a passionate preacher, and a tireless missionary. Paul saw a potential disciple in Timothy, a young man who could carry the torch of the gospel to the next generation. Paul took Timothy under his wing, mentoring him, guiding him, and ultimately shaping him into a significant leader in the early Christian church. This was no easy task. Timothy, like all disciples, had to grapple with doubts and fears, challenges and obstacles in spiritual journey. But under Paul's tutelage, Timothy grew in faith and in leadership. The relationship between Paul and Timothy was more than just a mentor-mentee relationship. It was a bond of deep spiritual fatherhood and sonship. Paul often referred to Timothy as his son in the faith, a testament to the depth of their connection. This was an intimate, personal relationship marked by mutual respect and love, a shared commitment to the gospel, and a common mission to spread the good news of Jesus Christ. Now, why is this all important? Because it's within this context that the letter of 2 Timothy was written. It's one of the 3 pastoral epistles in the New Testament written by Paul to provide guidance, encouragement, and instruction to his young protege. The letter was written during a time of great personal hardship for Paul. He was imprisoned in Rome, awaiting trial before Emperor Nero, a man known for his brutality and his persecution of Christians. It was a time of uncertainty and danger, with the threat of death hanging over Paul's head. But despite these grim circumstances, Paul's letter to Timothy is filled with hope and courage. In it, he encourages Timothy to stand firm in his faith, to hold on to the truth of the gospel, and not to be swayed by fear or intimidation. It's within this context that we find the powerful verse, 2 Timothy 1:7, "For God has not given us a spirit of fear, but of love and of a sound mind." This verse, written in a dank, dark prison cell, is a beacon of light, a testament to the unshakable faith and bold confidence that Paul had in the promises of God. It's a call to courage, a reminder that God equips us with everything we need to face our challenges head-on. Understanding this historical context brings a new depth to the verse. It's not just a phrase, but a battle cry, born out of adversity and hardship. It's a testament to the power of faith, the strength of conviction, and the transformative power of the gospel. Now, having understood the historical context, we can start to see the full power of this verse. It's not just about overcoming fear, but about tapping into the divine power, love, and wisdom that God has placed within each one of us. It's about stepping into our God-given potential and living out our faith with bold confidence, no matter what circumstances we find ourselves in. With the historical context in mind, let's dissect 2 Timothy 1:7. The verse, significant in its implications, commences, "For God has not given us a spirit of fear," an introduction that at once indicates the nature of the following discourse. The spirit of fear is a complex concept, and it is crucial to understand its meaning. Essentially, it symbolizes the worries, the nervousness, and the uncertainties that we as human beings frequently wrestle with. It represents our deepest fears, our anxieties that threaten to consume us, and our doubts that gnaw at our peace. The verse offers us a profound revelation. It tells us with absolute certainty that these gripping feelings of fear and insecurity are not from God. They are not part of His divine grace. They aren't a part of the sanctity that is His gift to us. They don't belong in the sacred space He has bestowed upon us, a space reserved for courage, strength, and faith. Instead, what God has conferred upon us is a spirit of power. Now let's take a moment to delve the concept of power. Power in this context does not pertain to the ability to subjugate or command others. Far from it. It does not refer to a desire to dictate or control, to oppress or suppress. Instead, it refers to the strength that resides within us, the strength that defines our core. Power in this context is about the capacity to endure, to withstand the trials and tribulations that life invariably presents. It is about our ability to stand unyielding in the face of adversity. It's about our resilience to weather the relentless storms life hurls our path. Power here is the might to take proactive steps, to effectuate positive changes in our lives and in the world around us. It's about our ability to influence, to drive transformation, and to alter the course of events. It's about our potential to make a difference. But power alone, while a formidable attribute, is not sufficient, is it? Power in isolation can lead to excesses and misuse. It can lead to arrogance and uncontrolled ambition. It needs to be moderated, balanced. And that's where the next part of the verse comes in, a spirit of love. This spirit of love is the divine love that God has for us and that we are called to share with others. It's a love that is patient and kind, not envious or boastful. This love isn't self-seeking or easily angered. It keeps no record of wrongs. This love is the foundation of our faith, the driving force behind our actions. It's a love that transcends differences, that bridges divides, that heals wounds. It's a love that inspires, that unites, that transforms. The verse further introduces thee of a spirit of self-discipline. This is perhaps one of the most challenging aspects to grasp. Self-discipline is about exercising control over our actions, thoughts, and feelings. It's about making choices that align with our faith, even when it's difficult. It's about consistently striving to live according to God's word, even when we stumble and fall. When we evaluate the verse as a whole, it presents a compelling message. For God has not given us a spirit of fear, but of power, love, and self-discipline. This verse isn't a call to boldness in isolation. It isn't merely about standing up and being strong. It's about the balance between power and love, between taking action and acting out of kindness. It's about the harmonious blend of strength and gentleness, of courage and compassion. The verse doesn't suggest that we won't face situations that make us anxious or uncertain. What it does say is that fear is not from God. It tells us that when we experience these feelings, we can choose to lean on the spirit that God has given us, a spirit of power, love, and self-discipline. When you're feeling overwhelmed, remember this verse. Remember that you have within you a spirit of power, a spirit that can overcome challenges and make a difference. So let's not forget that the Apostle Paul wrote this letter to Timothy when he was in prison, facing the possibility of death. Even in such dire circumstances, he chose to focus spirit that God had given him, a spirit of power, love, and self-discipline. He chose to be bold, not in a brash or arrogant way, but with humility, love, and self-control. And we can choose to do the same. We can choose to live by this verse, to let it guide our actions and our attitudes. We can choose to be bold, not in a way that seeks to dominate or control, but in a way that is strong yet gentle, that is brave yet loving, that is disciplined yet compassionate. Therefore, it's clear that this verse isn't just about boldness, but also love and self-discipline. It's about the balance, the harmony that comes from combining these elements. It's about the strength we find when we stand firm in our faith, when we act out of love, when we exercise self-discipline. It's about the profound impact we can have when we live out this verse, when we unlock the fear-crushing power of 2 Timothy 1:7. Knowing the verse is one thing, but applying it to our lives is where the real transformation happens. In the path to spiritual growth and self-improvement, the knowledge alone of the divine scripture isn't enough. True transformation unfolds when we take the wisdom embedded in these verses and incorporate them into our daily lives. So this takes us to our verse of the day, 2 Timothy 1:7. Having dissected the verse, understanding each word and phrase, and delving deep into its historical context, we now have a robust understanding of its meaning. But the journey doesn't stop here. Now we must pivot our focus to exploring how we can practically apply the teachings of this profound verse in our everyday lives. The verse 2 Timothy 1:7 proclaims that God has not given us a spirit of fear, but of power, love, and self-discipline. Each of these three elements is fundamental to our discussion today, serving as the core pillars that will guide our exploration. Let's begin with overcoming fear. Fear is an uninvited guest in our lives, isn't it? It lurks in the darkest corners of our minds, whispering words of doubt and insecurity that can shake us to our core. This fear often clouds our judgment, creating a barrier between us and our potential. However, we must remember the divine message of our verse, that God has not given us a spirit of fear. Instead, we have been gifted with a spirit of power. This power isn't about physical strength or worldly influence. It's not about having control over others or being in a position of authority. Rather, it's about the inner strength that comes from faith, the kind of power that can move mountains. This is the power that helps us face our fears and overcome them. So when fear tries to hold you back, remember that you have the power to overcome it. Stand firm in your faith and let the divine power bestowed upon you by God shine through you. Now let's navigate towards the concept of self-discipline. Self-discipline on the surface level might seem like a mundane concept, but when explored deeply, it's actually a spiritual practice. It's about making choices that align with our faith, even when those choices are difficult. It's about exercising control over our actions and impulses for the greater good. 2 Timothy 1:7 reminds us that God has given us a spirit of self-discipline. This implies that we have the ability to control our actions, to choose faith over fear, love over hate, and grace over judgment. It's not always easy to exercise this control, but the good news is we're not in this alone. God is with us, guiding us and giving us the strength we need to stay the course. Lastly, let's look into the practice of love. The verse tells us that God has given us a spirit of love. This love is not just about warm feelings or affection for others. It goes beyond shallow sentiments and delves into action. It's about actively showing kindness to others, forgiving those who have hurt us, and reaching out to those in need. When we practice love in this way, we're not just following commandment, we're living out the very essence of our faith. We're acting as the hands and feet of God in the world. As we've dissected each component, we must now look at how to put these teachings into practice. There are some practical steps that each one of us can take. First, confront your fears. Identify what scares you and face it head on. This doesn't mean that you won't the fear, but rather, in spite of the fear, you choose to act. Remember that you have the power to overcome fear, not because of who you are, but because of who God is. Second, practice self-discipline. Set goals that align with your faith and work towards them one step at a time. It could be as simple as spending 5 minutes in prayer each morning, as challenging as forgiving someone who has hurt you. No step is too small or insignificant on this journey. Third, practice love. Look for opportunities to show kindness, forgiveness, and generosity. It could be as simple as a smile, a kind word, or a helping hand. Or it could be something bigger, like volunteering at a local charity or reaching out to someone who's struggling. Remember, these aren't just one-time actions. These are habits, practices that need to be cultivated over time. They're not always easy, and they require effort, but the rewards are immeasurable. As we practice overcoming fear, embracing self-discipline, and practicing love, we're not just improving ourselves. We're also impacting the world around us, reflecting God's love and power in our actions. With these practical steps, we can truly live out the power of 2 Timothy 1:7. As we walk this path, we become living examples of the divine power, love, and self-discipline that our verse speaks of. We become the embodiment of these principles, transforming not only ourselves, but also the world around us. Belief isn't about blind faith, but about understanding and conviction. A statement as profound as this is packed with layers of meaning that can be unlocked only when delved into with an open heart and a receptive mind. This critical principle forms the cornerstone of our exploration of the incredible might of belief. The journey into the heart of belief commences with engaging with the Scriptures. Scriptures are not read just for the sake of ritual or tradition. They serve as a rich resource of wisdom that can be mined only when we are willing to delve deep. Taking a dip into these waters of wisdom means not just brushing the surface, but allowing ourselves to feel the depth of the messages they convey. This process calls for understanding the historical context of the Scriptures, appreciating their spiritual significance, and most importantly, realizing how they can be potent tools for guiding our lives. Belief, in the truest sense, is not just a passive acceptance of these teachings. It is an active process of internalizing them, making them a part of our core being. It is about these teachings seep into every thought, every action, and every fiber of our existence. When we talk about belief, we are addressing something far beyond the material world. It is a transformative power that transcends the boundaries of the physical and penetrates deep into the spiritual realm. Imagine belief as a seed that is sowed in the fertile ground of understanding. This seed, when nurtured with the waters of conviction, has the potential to grow into a strong, sturdy tree, a tree that is deeply rooted in faith. As the tree grows, it begins to bear the fruits of courage, strength, and confidence. These are the qualities that epitomize 2 Timothy 1:7. The journey to cultivate this seed of belief is not straightforward. It begins with understanding. We have to comprehend the teachings of the verse. We need to grasp the context in which it was revealed. We have to understand its relevance to our lives in the current times. This understanding paves the way for conviction. Conviction is a deep-rooted faith that these teachings are the ultimate truth. It is when this conviction begins fuel our belief that we understand the true depth and strength of belief. The belief that is born out of this process is not shallow or superficial. It is deep. It is unshakable. It is a belief that stands resilient in the face of trials and tribulations. It is a belief that empowers us to overcome fear. It is a belief that instills in us the bold confidence that 2 Timothy 1:7 talks about. Belief is not a destination. It is a journey. It is a journey of understanding, a journey of conviction, a journey of transformation. It is a journey that strengthens our faith and in doing so equips us with the spiritual armor that we need to face the challenges of life. So as we prepare to embark on this journey let us be ready to delve into the depths of understanding and conviction. Let us be open to the transformative power of belief and allow it to work its magic in our lives. And as we do so, let us remember the truth of the first part of our journey. When we truly believe, we unlock the full potential of 2 Timothy 1:7. Today, we've journeyed through the historical context, dissected the verse, and explored practical applications of 2 Timothy 1:7. This has been an enlightening adventure, steeped in history and spirituality, that has allowed us to look deep within ourselves and our faith. We've meticulously pored over ancient texts, delved into the cultural and societal nuances of the times, and emerged with a profound understanding of this powerful verse. We ventured together through the intricate labyrinth of history, exploring the rich tapestry of early Christian theology. We've studied the context in which this verse was written, the struggles and triumphs that shaped these words. We've sought to understand the author's mindset, his intent, his hope, and his faith. We then meticulously unraveled the structure of the verse, dissected its poetic nuances, and examined its biblical symbology. We've shed light on its deep, profound meanings, hidden beneath layers of ancient language and metaphoric expressions. This verse is not merely words on a page, but a divine message from a time long past, still speaking to us in the complexities of our modern lives. Moving beyond the historical and literal analysis, we've also explored how this verse could be practically applied in our day-to-day lives. We've projected its ancient wisdom onto our contemporary situations, allowing it to guide us, inspire us, and infuse us with a sense of divine purpose. We've seen how this verse can transform our daily lives, infusing our routine with spiritual depth and purpose. The power of this verse is evident in how it can awaken a bold confidence within us, replacing fear with power, love, and self-discipline. We've delved into how these ancient words, crafted with divine inspiration, can still deeply touch our hearts today. They are not mere historical artifacts, but living, breathing inspirations that continue to shape our lives and world. This is not just a passage, it's a life-changing mantra, a fear-crushing power. It's an affirmation of our humanity, a beacon of hope in troubled times, a testament to the power of faith. Through this verse, we are reminded that we are not alone in our struggles, that we have the strength to overcome, and that love and discipline are our greatest allies. It's been a privilege to share this journey with you, to dive into the depths of these ancient words together. Your participation, your engagement, and your faith have this experience immeasurably. As we close this chapter, remember the lesson we've learned, the strength we've gained, and the faith we've rekindled. Remember, you have not been given a spirit of fear, but of power, love, and self-discipline. This verse is a testament to that. It is a promise of strength, a pledge of love, an affirmation of discipline. Carry these words with you as you move forward. Let them guide you, inspire you, and empower you. Subscribe and join our community as we continue to explore the transformative power of the Bible.